thing.
It's fine. Welcome, everybody. We have done it. So after surmounting some nearly impossible fucking odds, dealing with technology, fighting our way through, me and the Granite Buffalo have made it here tonight to talk with you. How you doing, homie?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on with me tonight.
Oh, glad to. The timing works out great. You and I are both dads, and it's after the kiddos' bedtime.
Thank God. What a night. What a day. What a day.
Yeah.
My son hates going to bed too. It's been a struggle.
Oh yeah. It's well, mine fight a little bit, especially when they're really tired, and then once I get them to stop wiggling, they zonk right out. So.
If you want to pull up the live stream right on your phone, you'll be able to track the chat too if you want. It's up to you.
Okay.
If not, I can let you know the questions.
Yeah. They zonk right out. So.
If you want to pull up the all right.
I haven't left. I swear. I'm gonna plug in my phone, or else my battery's gonna die. We are a professional operation, my friend.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Granite Buffalo, I don't know what rock you've been hiding under, but he is an expert with the glass wheel. He takes liquor bottles, alcohol bottles, really any type of glass thing, right? And he slices and dices and turns it into art. And he's been doing that for at least a couple years now. I think I discovered you 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, sounds about right. I want to say 3-4 years, give or take.
And your work has just progressively gotten cooler and cooler and better. And so I guess the best place to start is right at the beginning. How did you discover your knack for cutting bottles?
Geez, well, I guess it was I was drinking Johnny Walker Double Black one night, and it comes in this really cool black glass square bottle, and for some reason it hit me that this would make a really cool drinking glass if you cut it up. So I started kind of YouTubing things and seeing how things went. And, ended up breaking a lot of bottles. Turns out square bottles are kind of hard to cut for the novice because of the corners make it interesting. And so I just started practicing on anything I could get, marinara bottles or whatever whiskey bottles I had around. Happened to have a few. and I kind of lucked out once or twice, and I showed off just on my regular personal Facebook page what I did, and people started asking me to make stuff. And I think my first request was Jameson glasses. And from there, people started just adding on requests, and it's kind of like I'd say yes and then go figure out how to do it afterwards.
Isn't that the best?
But, yeah, and at the time, we had a 3-year-old and pretty much a newborn, and my wife, who's an absolute champ, was also taking night classes at home to get her bachelor's degree. So, certain time of night, I just had a couple hours to kill, and I just went out in the garage and started figuring stuff out.
That's awesome. And then now here we are, 4 years later, and a lot of fuck ups and a lot of really awesome pieces. And
oh yeah, a lot of trips to the transfer station with boxes full of broken bottles. That I never post that part.
Do you feel like you've gotten to a point where you're kind of like the master of it, where you can just? Is there anything that's still daunting to you, or when you come up on something, do you ever feel like you can't do something?
There is one cut that I want to do, and it's for a very nice person who also happens to live in the same town as me. He's also he's a bourbon enthusiast, much more so than I am. And he's asked me to cut a certain bottle, and I can't get it right. And every couple months, I go back to it. It's an Elijah Craig 1.75 liter bottle, and he wants it cut in half to make like an ashtray out of it, like cut vertically in half. And it's this really weird kind of flat shape, and the glass is super thin at points. And I'm really good at messing it up. I probably poured about like 10 of them into into the recycling bin at the transfer station. Luckily, he gave me plenty of them to work with. But that's the one that's still fighting me.
Do you are you just chugging? Do you just like chug alcohol nonstop to have these bottles around, or like do you have a problem? This isn't actually an intervention. We're here, me and your wife. We set this up. We need to have a talk.
She's waiting around the corner for me. No, so most of my all my liquor bottles lately have come from donations. I've never had to buy an empty liquor bottle. I haven't dumpster dove in a long, long time for a liquor bottle. I did when I was starting out to try and get something to cut. But through friends and restaurants and local bourbon people, I never want to turn away empties, but my garage is an alcoholic like hoarder situation right now. Right now, for the last year or so.
I saw a wicked cool bottle the other day that was like, I don't even know what it was, but it was like silver. It was glass and silver, had like a skull drawing on it. Something fingers. I was like, fuck, I should grab that for Ernie to cut up for me. That's the problem with not drinking, is that I never have anything cool for you to do for me.
No, well, trust me, I have bottles in the garage. A chef out of Boston was hooking me up with some nice bottles. I get when you took those gorgeous pictures of the Crystal Head vodka bottles, the glass skulls. I've got 6 or 7 of those in my garage right now.
Uncut or cut?
Uncut. I've got one here I made for my wife that's cut in the in the Raven thing. I think I snuck it into the background when I did the line for the Raven for you.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I've got.
That's to be announced. That's a to be announced project.
Oh, sorry. I leaked it.
I saw you did a cool one that was like a devil horns.
Yeah, I've done that twice so far.
Oh, you did that twice? I saw the one the black skull that you did.
Yep. I did one for a good friend of mine, Jesse from Death Row Clothing. He was the first person to ask me for it. He kind of saw what I did I did one with a kind of a crown going around it with little spikes on the crown.
Yep.
And he said, "Oh man, devil horns would be really cool." So I made him one. Crystal Head is the vodka company. Dan Aykroyd's actually the owner of it. So that's pretty cool. But they have, I think you call it Onyx, and I think it's an agave tequila, and comes in a glass bottle, black glass bottle, sorry. And so I made one for him, and then that was last early spring, and I made one this fall for somebody out of Bedford that hooks me up with empty bottles. And there's a couple people out there who like fill my the hatchback of my car up with cases of empty bottles. So I'm more than happy to do some work for them to kind of pay them back for them.
Do you ever get ones that you're like, oh no, not more Budweiser bottles?
When I started, I cut a bunch of Jack Daniels, and nobody was interested in them. I couldn't give them away.
Really?
So
that surprises me. I feel like that's like a collector. It's like a big collector.
Yeah, because it's huge brand recognition, especially to keep the label on them. It's that cool square bottle and the black and white logo. But nobody was interested. High shelf bourbon seems to be a big thing for me, where people like the stuff.
What does that mean, high shelf?
Well, I guess I just like fancier bourbon. The harder it is to come by the bottle, it seems like the more people are interested in individual pieces. I get it from, I think the term high shelf is from the expensive booze is higher up on the actual bar. Yeah.
Makes sense. I don't really, so because I never drank that, all that whole, are you just drinking water?
Yeah, this is actually
out of a mason jar, not even out of a cut. You didn't even bring any of your fucking own pieces to the table.
This is bourbon, but it's not out of one of my glasses.
What the fuck? Why did I even invite you on here? Why didn't you ask me for some goddamn advice before we did this?
Well,
Jesus.
I sell so many of my glasses. I don't have any spares to keep around to drink out of for myself.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
You should just take a month where you just like make yourself some shit.
Well, that's kind of what I did. I don't know if you saw the Bluetooth speaker thing that I just did.
I did. What was that?
Um, Actually, hey, look, I have it here. Um,
That's awesome. So you're an
this is
engineer.
a
We should point out that you're also like an engineer by trade. Like you're no fucking slouch. And your work you do like milling and like don't you do like tool milling for?
yeah. Well, yeah, I work at a manufacturing company. We do a lot of Navy contracts for systems on submarines, and I'm a process engineer for my job. My degree is mechanical engineering technology. So like think of like mechanical engineer, but more hands on, less calculus, more hands on. Um, but yeah, it probably has something to do with how the mindset carries over. I like to make stuff. I like to, especially me, I like to take something that was garbage and make something kind of cool out of it.
That's awesome. And what? So I'm sorry to interrupt you on your. So show us that Bluetooth speaker. How's that work?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is speaking of kind of higher shelf booze, this is a tube that Colonel E.H. Taylor bourbon comes in. I don't know if I can
Okay,
show that off a little bit.
that's pretty
And
cool.
then I found a company was new to me, Rockler, which apparently is like a household name for like woodworking people. They make a lot of pieces and fixtures and tools for woodworkers.
They should have made their
They
name
sell this.
Woodler.
What's that?
They should have made their name Woodler.
Yeah, they're not a masonry company.
I'll be here all night, everybody. I'll be here all night.
So yeah, so this is the tube the bourbon comes in, and Rockler makes this Bluetooth speaker kit where it's a little brain box, and I hit it on the back side of it,
Okay.
and then I just cut out each end of the tube, and that's now a 2 3/4 inch speaker on each end of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I kind of hid some. It comes with a battery pack. It connects right up to your phone. I put some more kind of structure in there. I put some. I'm not an audiophile, but I've heard something about venting the inside of a speaker to the outside. So I put some extra holes and little grommets in there. This is the thing that was kind of just bugging me that I wanted to make.
Is that mostly hollow in there, or is there something that's like connecting those two pieces?
It's mostly hollow. There's really inside here. There's a rod and a couple pieces of round cutouts that I did in there, and then there's the kit is super easy where it's wires that connect the speaker to the brain box, and there's a battery pack built into one of these speakers, so you can charge it and hook it right up to your speaker.
Dude,
Or
that's
right up to
awesome.
your phone, whatever.
So the box itself is acting like the speaker portion. The two speakers on the end are like thin, right? They're not like cut. Like you didn't just slide that tube over like another cylinder, right?
Oh no, yeah. This is a hard tube that the bourbon comes in. I didn't add any structure to it or anything like that.
That's what she said.
No.
So like, what made you think of that? Like, where did that even come from?
I did one out of a there's a company there named Blood Oath that does bourbons, and their bourbon comes in a wooden box with a sliding door on the front of it, and it just kind of hit me that it'd be super cool to make a Bluetooth speaker kit out of it. And I was on YouTube, and I was trying to parts and piece out a Bluetooth setup where like buy the speakers, buy the battery, buy whatever little magic box the Bluetooth works in, and all kinds of things. And then I kind of stumbled upon this company, Rockler, just makes a kit to do it themselves, because I was a little worried. I don't have a UL listing or UL license, and I didn't want it. I know soldering a bit, but I'm not confident enough in it to sell something I've soldered together. If I keep it around my house and if it's for me, it's one thing. But
Right.
this thing is just 3 plugs. So it's kind of on Rockler if things go wrong. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't done any soldering involved in it. It's just three quick connect plugs that go on in there.
And are you planning on selling those, like to the wider audience? Is that just a one-time gig you shot off, or?
This was something to get out of my head, and I think with a couple modifications, I'd be interested in selling it. I think I'm going to get in touch with somebody who does some 3D printing, and because I don't like how clunky this box is, just kind of hanging off the back. I like to slim it up a little bit. I want to these little vent holes. I want to incorporate them into that. And these screws are way too big. I can go a lot slimmer. I just kind of had to see it.
Yep.
To get a better idea of what I liked and what I didn't like.
That's cool though. That's a very cool. Yeah. So, do you get into any trouble with like will that bourbon company, like, will they get pissed that you're using their shit?
Nobody said anything to me yet.
Well, that's good.
I do try and take care when I post things that this isn't a Colonel E.H. Taylor product. This is something made from the tube Colonel E.H. Taylor comes in. I've seen that it's kind of on some gray ground, and it kind of depends on whose lawyers want to get involved and things like that. But I figure on the other side of things, I'm a small time enough operation where they'd probably just send me a cease and desist. Just, cut it out. Don't do that anymore.
Right.
I have heard of other people. Of course, I'm not the first one to do bottle cutting.
You're not?
No.
Holy shit. All right, yeah. I think I got the wrong person on this interview. I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to cut this off.
No more questions. Thank you. There, especially when it comes to like making rocks glasses and things like that, I'm definitely not the first person to do that kind of thing. And I keep in touch with a couple other people on Instagram, and they've been very cool with me. Just saying hi and, hey, I like what you did here and things like that. And I've had a couple people say, hey, our Etsy shop got shut down because a certain distillery put the whack on, like this certain product. But it seems, it's, as far as I've noticed so far, one, I just sell everything through social media or through friends of friends and things like that. I haven't gotten on Etsy,
right,
or any kind of other. I don't have a personal website, but it seems like they'll get told to stop selling it on Etsy, but they won't even get a full cease and desist.
That's probably Etsy themselves trying to cut it, because I think Etsy could get in trouble for allowing them to sell on there, so they might just be being extra cautious.
Yeah. And I mean, no fault. There's no fault there, and I can definitely see where it's on some gray ground. But I know, well, Jameson bottles. I've given mine through a local pub, the Shaskeen in Manchester. Great place. They've been awesome with me. They hooked me up with a bunch of Jameson empties. Go figure, an Irish pub goes through a lot of Jameson bottles. There's my cat.
What the fuck? Battle cat coming out of nowhere. Oh, he lost his tail.
Oh yeah, that's Voodoo. He came like that. He's a rescue cat.
A true battle cat.
Yeah. We got two black cats around here. Well, it's all the cats we have, but apparently he decided to join in on the meeting.
I also have two cats. You can have them if you want. They're two black cats. You could have 4 black cats.
Don't tell my wife. She absolutely loves black cats.
No, but that's perfect. Let her know. Let her know. So I actually love cats, but the problem is that we're in a small house and we have 2 cats, 2 kids, 2 adults, and a dog, and so it's just it's too much. And I love them, but they gotta go.
Weird thing, these cats normally want nothing to do with me. I'm cool with cats, cool with dogs.
Also, before anyone panics, we're not really getting rid of my cats. Everybody calm down.
The cats are fine. It's gonna be okay.
They're very well taken care of, and I love them very much. I was just kidding. Don't burn my house down.
I haven't watched that. Was it Don't Fuck with the Cats? I haven't watched that yet.
Oh yeah,
I heard it's pretty intense.
That was a crazy. The internet's just an amazing place. You should definitely watch it if you get a chance.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do watch way too much Netflix. So, not that we don't love Netflix. In case they're definitely watching, they pick up a documentary about me playing with trash.
You should get a documentary. So you mentioned the Shashkin. Did you go see the Cro-Mags the other day?
I did see the Cro-Mags play there.
Was
Yeah, it was the first time seeing them play.
was it amazing?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He came out. He was wearing a Santa Claus hat because right before Christmas, our Harley was, and it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I always love going to see shows in the Shaskin. It's a great place. Um, I've seen Amigo the Blue Devil play there like 3 times now.
You just made a story about them today
Yeah,
with their
I was
bingo
driving.
song.
Yeah, I was driving down. I was driving down to actually get something for the garage, and I saw Bingo Hall had that sign closed until further notice. And Amigo Devil has the song "Murder at the Bingo Hall," which if you listen to it, it's hilarious because it's like a younger guy, and the second line is like fueled up, doubled up on cocaine and Adderall. So he's basically like a younger guy walking into a bingo hall, hepped up on speed, and just running house on all these old ladies. And it's a joke song to me. And the fact that it was murder at the bingo hall, and then the bingo hall's closed until further notice.
I used to go play bingo all the time, actually, with some of my friends.
Yeah,
Those old people fucking kill you, straight up.
yeah.
There's some murderers. I remember swear to God, there was this lady. She was in one of those scam scooters. She had like the oxygen tanks, and she had fucking hate tattooed on both of her knuckles. I was like, what the fuck is that lady's story? Dude,
Instead of love and hate, she had
hate and hate on both of her knuckles. I used to go with my buddy Mike, Emily, and Amanda, and they fucking there was some of those people are bad bitches. Me and my wife used to go because she just liked smoking inside. It's the only place you can smoke inside, so we used to fucking go.
Yeah, I went a couple of times with my grandma as a kid, and those are ladies that like rip butts and have like 12 cards in front of them. You get the dabber and everything like that.
Dude,
couple fuzzy-headed trolls.
The amount of Marlboro points racked up during one bingo sesh has to just be through the fucking roof. So what's like the coolest thing in your opinion, what's the coolest thing you've done so far, as far as like as far as your bottles go?
I really like doing those Crystal Head vodka bottles with the crown on them.
Yep.
I don't know if you ever watched the movie The Last Unicorn. It's an early 80s cartoon. So I grew up on it. I remember my older sisters used to like rag on me because I'd always rent it from the local video store, and they're like, "Oh, The Last Unicorn, man," But it's got some really cool monsters in it. It's got this flaming red bull. It's got a harpy that like tears a witch apart, and just like eviscerates her.
That's sick. All right.
Yeah. It's got a drunken old skeleton in it that like lives on top of a mantelpiece that comes alive and it's just like riddling with this wizard. And the skeleton wears this little like 6-pointed crown, this like shitty little crown. And I was looking at the Crystal Head vodka bottle, like that'd be really cool if I could kind of incorporate that into the bottle. So that was kind of my idea there. And some people saw it and got it. Like, oh God, I see what I saw what you did. That's a lot of fun.
You know what would be cool is if you did it like if you took another like piece of glass that could fit over the circumference and made him like an actual crown.
Yeah.
And then
that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
That would probably be a shitload of work, but that would be sick.
Well, they do most liquor bottles are 750 milliliters, so like 3/4 of a liter. And I did notice at the liquor store they make like a 1.5 liter size, like double that size, or 1.75 liters. And that's a huge skull, and it's also like $90. I honestly I've thought about buying it. Like, could this be a business expense if I just buy that?
Yeah, dude, that's 100% a business expense.
Yeah, because I don't really drink vodka. I've heard it's very good vodka, but But yeah,
Dude, you could
that
definitely get away with that. You must get away with all that shipping business expenses, I would think.
I normally, if I'm
You should never pay
my
Uncle Sam for any alcohol that you buy.
yeah, that's I probably could. I probably really could because it's yeah, man. I need the empty. I can buy the bottle for $50. I can sell a $20 glass afterwards. That's a great business model. There's been one or two times that I have had to do that because I've been in a bind where it's just I just needed one more glass to make a set for a customer or something like that. I
That's
actually did it. Basil Hayden's has a cool a bottle and it has a metal band that goes around the bottle, and I needed one more metal band to make the set where I had the glasses, and I just needed the band off the bottle, and it had to be a 1 liter bottle because it's obviously it's fatter than the usual size, and I went out and bought a bottle of Basil Hayden's and just ripped the band off of it, and then eventually drank the bourbon at a later date, just to complete a set for a customer.
the homie G Goats wants to know who is the first piece you ever made, and who
The
has who
first
has the most of your pieces, and what's the most unique piece you ever made?
um the first piece I ever made, I want to say, was a bottle of Polish vodka. Geez, I can't remember it. It's got some really cool embossing around it, but that's my buddy Matt that bought that off of me. It was man,
Literally
I really
everybody
wish.
else has had such cool names that you throw out there, and then you're just like, that was just your buddy Matt. You've been like fucking Death Roll and fucking Amigo the Devil and fucking Matt.
Matt. No, Matt's a great guy. I've known him for better part of 20 years now. Um, he was a groomsman at my wedding. He's a barber at Stanley's Barbershop in Manchester. My kids won't go anywhere else. I don't go anywhere else for our haircuts. Um, but it was a
Dude,
it
you're
was
like
a,
the
it was
you're
a,
like the second or third person that plugged their barber on this live show. Everybody's
well,
so fucking
yeah.
loyal to their barbers, man. God
Well,
damn.
I didn't meet him as my barber. We were working at Manchester Harley together way back in the day. So I met him through working there. So he was a truck driver there, and I was a mechanic there, and we ended up hitting it off and becoming friends. And but man, it's the vodka company is bothering me. But there's this really cool embossing around it of Valkyries and stuff around the bottle. So and Hussars, I don't know my Polish mythology that well, but the coolest thing I ever the priciest bottle I ever cut, I think, was a bottle of John Walker King George V. Um, so Johnny Walker, after they have all the different colors. I know you don't drink, but I'm sure you've heard of like the different colors, like red, black, green, blue,
Mm-hmm.
gold, things like that. After that, they get even fancier, and they yeah. So Johnny Walker Blue is like $220 a bottle, and
Holy shit.
yeah. And then they get fancier after that, and they drop from Johnny to John Walker because they're official now.
Okay.
And
Jonathan
yeah,
Walker.
a guy I had never met from Texas just thought I was doing cool stuff and set me up a bottle of John Walker King George V, which had to do with like their 100th anniversary, and King George allowed some act to go into place, and it's like a $350 bottle of booze. And he said to me with the box and everything like that. He said to me empty. He didn't send me the full one, and I made an ashtray out of that.
I don't even, dude. That's crazy. $350 for a bottle of liquid just to drink. I mean, I feel like, cause like I'm sure Mad Dog gets you fucked up just as good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so I have my tastes. I have a couple bourbons that I really enjoy. I have got my cheap daily drinker, and I've got my when I can find it, I'll pick it up type bourbon. Um, but some people really geek out on like, yeah, it's this brand, this label. but I want to know if it came out of a certain barrel or a certain rick house or things like that. I'm like, oh, this barrel's great, but this barrel's junk. I don't know how much they've got better taste than I have if they can really discern like one from the other.
Yeah, maybe that's.
No,
I guess. Yeah,
oh,
maybe
this
that's the
one,
thing.
yeah,
Well, like I
yeah.
always, if you look at like, I think about that whenever I make a recipe, and I'm
Mm,
like, it's like add 1 tablespoon of whatever dried mustard, and like
mm.
especially like crock pot meals, I always think that because it's like 1 tablespoon. I'm like throwing in this 32-quart thing. I'm like, how much difference does that really make? Like, would I actually fucking notice if I didn't add that tablespoon of fucking whatever mustard or like whatever it is,
Yeah.
So I wonder.
Sometimes,
I feel at least definitely not to me because I'm just like a hobo basically. But like, I'm sure to someone, I'm sure like Gordon Ramsay could pick it out. But
I've had that noticed it before. At a my wife made a pot of chili for some friends' chili cook-off, and I want to say she put like a tablespoon of cinnamon in there or something like that. And somebody was just digging into this bowl of chili that they'd given themselves, and like, is there cinnamon in here? How'd you ever pick that out? Really? It's like a couple gallons worth of chili. You picked out the tablespoon of cinnamon.
so who has the most pieces? Hey, what's going on, Chris? How you doing? Chris said hello. Do you have if you have the
Oh,
chat
okay.
open on your phone, you can see all this. I don't know if you do.
I don't know. I'm kind of scared to
Oh yeah,
touch.
that's right. You're on your phone, right? You can open it up on
Yeah,
your computer if you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
Um,
I'll pull up the YouTubes.
but yeah, who has the most pieces of that you've made?
Oh, geez. Earlier on, I would say I have a cousin. Her name's Lorette. Thank you, Lorette, for all you purchased from me. But she definitely purchased earlier on. Again, Jesse from Death Roll. He's bought a lot of stuff off me. Um, we get my friend Matt. He's bought a couple things. But I'm surprised. There's been some kind of stray people across the country who've really just picked up on it and suddenly make something new when they have to buy things. But
Do you
I wouldn't
keep
say
things?
there's.
Is your business model like you keep things in stock to sell, or do you just like do private like special orders mostly?
I wish it was. I had things in stock to sell. I make so. I mean, as you mentioned, I'm an engineer by day. I I've got my family, my wife, and two young boys at home, and I go in the garage for maybe an hour a night, and I do this thing in the garage. It's my moment of zen after sitting at a computer all day long. And I wish I had more stock where if somebody hit me up to make something, I could just pull it off the shelf. But most of my orders seem to be make to order. Um, I I've I've considered going quiet off of social media just to like build up a stock, and I feel kind of weird saying that because it's not like I'm some kind of like influencer or like really crazy thing. But I've thought about making a bunch of stuff and just kind of keeping it quiet. But I like showing it off. I like hey, I made these Jameson glasses. Here's some cool pictures of them.
Dude, I know that feeling because like especially like making a video, I'm like
Yeah,
as soon as I'm like, all right, I'm gonna save this for like one of the days I don't have anything to post, and then I'm like, nah, fuck it, I can't hold on to it after working on it. I get too excited to show off the stuff I make, so I totally get that.
yeah.
Does it take you a long time to make a cut? Like, how long would you say it takes like per inch of glass between like cutting, sanding, doing whatever else you fucking do to it?
It kind of depends on like the how much glass I'm sanding. This is weird. I can see myself on YouTube.
Welcome.
Um, thank you. Good to be here. Um, yeah, it depends. So like if I'm doing like rocks glasses and things like that, um, I could probably crank out about say 15 of them in a day. Like if I really like just didn't go to work that day or spent the whole day in the garage, I would easily say under an hour for all of that. But when it gets into like the ashtrays or the thicker glass or like the cuts with the crystal head bottles, things like that, the time goes up really quickly. Especially the ashtrays I make from the Blanton's bottles that are a huge hit. People seem to really like. I can't make those fast enough. Sanding those down because just a lot of surface area. My first thing that I do is sand them to flat just to get one good edge on them, and that takes me a lot of time. Like a ashtray made from Blanton's bottles, probably about 4 or 5 hours worth of work between the glass and the little holders I make.
Have you thought about doing this as like your full-time gig and not just like an hour a day thing?
Oh, fantasy of mine, yeah. Definitely. I've done little time studies as far as like how fast I can make glasses versus
Dude, you're so much smarter than me. I was just like, fuck it, I'm going for it.
well,
I did 0 time studies before fucking making the leap.
I think time studies is churching it up a little bit where I just I know how much I get paid, weekly, and chop that up per day, and how much I bring home per day, and then look at how much I sell the glasses for, and how many of those I can crank out in a day, and that in the perfect situation runs side by side where I can come close to the money that I'm making driving into work and having a day job if I was just in my garage cranking away on glasses. But sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, right, the numbers get close, but then you start. I'm assuming what you're about to say is when you start adding in insurance and vacations and like benefits, 401k, 3% match, those kinds of things, you probably start running into where it doesn't make sense.
Well, now you're getting fancier than I am, man. I was thinking more of I'm more concerned. The concerns that hit me were things like I can't go to the store and buy empty bottles of booze, so I'm dependent on what's handed off to me.
Right.
And I'm also worried about like any kind of like market saturation, where it's a niche product. I love doing it. I'm super happy doing it, but I don't think they're going to be selling these things in Walmart anytime soon. Granite Buffalo made glasses or something like that.
No, but I bet you could do very well at like, like even just craft fairs. I bet you could clean up, or or like Deerfield Fair, like fairs. I bet you could clean up. Like I definitely think you have a viable business here if you are willing. If you take the leap, like I'm sure that you'll probably have to figure out a way to like make sure that you're getting bottles. But I feel like you could probably just even find contacts at the dump who would be willing to stick them aside for you. You know what I mean?
I did that at one point in time where I happened to be at the dump and I asked one of the guys there who's always at the glass recycling bin, like, hey man, I'm looking for Johnny Walker Blue Label bottles. If you happen to find any, I was totally sketchy. I was like, I could get you a little something in return. And he was pretty much like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
He's like, dude, some guy's offering to blow me for some bottles.
I would rather give him $5.
Well, you gotta clarify that. You can't. Don't be saying it like. Just say that then. Don't be making promises.
Make you work your while. Go out behind the dumpster.
I got a cough right now. Sorry.
Yeah. No, but I have thought about hitting up local pubs, bars, restaurants for right now. There's a couple of them that put aside select bottles for me, and I thought about changing that into like, hey, how many cases of empty liquor bottles do you go through a week? I'll just stop by once a week and take everything. I'll recycle what I don't need, and then your trash bill goes down for your troubles.
Do it,
and I'll take care of that. I've thought about because there's definitely some again that kind of high shelf idea where there's some whiskey bars around locally that I'd love to get in my hands on some of their stuff, because the fancier bottle I cut, the more of a premium I can sell for like the same work.
Right.
Like I said, Jack Daniels I couldn't give away. But Johnny Walker Blue, if I could, if I knew I could have a incoming supply of Johnny Walker Blue bottles to meet my demand on them,
Mm-hmm.
I might think about quitting my day job.
Well, what else? I think what you would find too is that like as you had more time out there, you would be able to maybe do like some experimenting and maybe do some weirder shit. Like maybe you can't sell, Jack Daniels, um, like glasses, but if you had 16 hours to fuck around, maybe you could make like a chess set out of a Johnny Walker. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
like I feel like you would have the opportunity to do some more intricate work.
yeah, and I'd really like to kind of again with like the Bluetooth speaker thing. There's a couple ideas like rattling around. I don't know if you saw the 6-shooter shot glass set that I was making,
Yep.
where it's the bottle tops and the wooden holder with the bullet casings in it. That
Yep.
was actually my wife's idea, and it was a great idea, but not a lot of people bit off on it. But there are definitely things that I want to try and work out and figure out how to do. That I'm kind of, I think I'm gonna take like 1 week a month and just do my own thing, just experiment like that. Like make the Bluetooth speaker kit, make the weird thing, something like that.
Yeah.
See how what people bite off on.
Yeah, yeah. Now that I've taken the leap and now that I'm working full time for myself, I'm just trying to convince everybody else to. So don't listen to me. I'm like, if I'm gonna fail, I gotta fucking bring everybody else down with me. I gotta just grab as many people as I can and drag them down into the abyss.
No, yeah, it's definitely it's a pipe dream for me. I can't say I've made any like hard plans or anything like that, but the idea of working for yourself and be accountable for your own time and things like that, it it sounds really interesting for me, and I'm surprised people have been this interested in what I do, let alone the idea of possibly taking it full time.
I feel like you could do it, to be honest with you, because every time I talk to you, you're like, oh yeah, like I have so many orders coming in. There's no way I can possibly keep up with them. Like that's typically a good sign. You know what I mean?
I and I hate to sound like I'm bragging, like, oh yeah, it's just people are just dying for my stuff. Oh geez, but because it is craft. It's definitely not high art or anything like that, but it's something I really enjoy doing.
No, dude, don't talk down about it.
People,
Your work is seriously beautiful, so don't.
oh,
You
thanks.
shouldn't talk. I mean, I've gotten the opportunity to work with your stuff several times now, and get real close and hands on with it. And your cuts are not only are your cuts really nice, but um, like a lot of times I've like had glasses similar to what you make, and like the cuts aren't good. They're either the cuts are fine, but it's like awkward to drink out of,
Yeah,
like because they didn't sand them down enough. I'm guessing, but yours are all super smooth. I mean, yours feel as much like they were made to be what you make them into than like as if they were manufactured that way.
that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I'm glad you've felt the same way. Is I want it to be like, let's say you have a home bar and you invite some friends over. These are like conversation pieces, and you pour your friend a drink, and they, by the way, I just poured you a drink. You know, the glass you're drinking of is out of the same bottle, and have it be almost hard to tell of the two things. Like with the ashtrays that I make, especially the ashtrays made from Blanton's bottles. I want somebody to have to say like, no, no, it's not a replica. Somebody really cut this thing in half and like super polished it. It is tough because I do see some other people. Again, I follow other people who do the same sort of thing that I do, and I see them not polish as far as I do. And everybody's got their own work, and everybody wants their own stuff to look a certain way. But I see where they're selling a lot more stuff than I am, but they're not putting nearly as much finish work in as I am. But their numbers are through the roof comparatively compared to mine. Like, Am I going about this the wrong way?
Ask them what their sales is like.
They posted
Be
what
like, hey,
their grocery
Brian,
sales,
what the fuck?
huh?
You just be like, hey, Brian, your work sucks. Why am I not getting any fucking? Why am I getting numbers like you,
I mean, I'm better than you,
dude?
and what's
And they'd
going
probably be like, yeah, no, you're right, you are. This is fucking.
on?
No, like
I
I
just
pad my
text them.
numbers. I lie. I just lie.
I I buy my own stuff all the time just to keep the numbers up.
I'm bidding in my own comments.
Yeah, I definitely I have a look I'm going for. And anytime I see like a little flaw, I want to throw it in the scrap bin or throw it in the to be recycled bin. And earlier on, again, my wife was like, "No, no, no, your stuff is handmade. Some people want that. Some people want to see like the little flaws in it." Especially when I was hand sanding things before I got a little like bench sander, get a like a Harbor Freight combo, like 6-inch disc sander with the belt on it and things like that. I was hand sanding everything, and I'd get little scuffs in the side of it and things like that. Like, this is garbage, throw it away. But people are like, no, 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 no. That lets me know somebody actually made this, and
Right.
like that's kind of cool.
It's just like diamonds, dude. It's the suffering that makes them worth the most. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
more someone
yeah,
had to suffer, the more money it's worth. It's just like blood diamonds.
yeah. It's the bloodiest.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants those cheap lab made diamonds. There, no
No.
one even had to die for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want the real deal shit that came out of the ground that, like some poor African child had to rip out of the ground. You know?
This is such thin ice. I don't want to touch any of these jokes. But yeah, um, well, like the crystal head bottle.
Well, oh, but
You
what I was
photographed
gonna
for me.
say was, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to anyways. What I was
All
gonna
right.
say was that like your work almost looks as though, and like I don't want to, if anyone from Jack Daniels or Johnny Walker's listening, like cover your ears, but it almost looks like it's like an official piece of merch, the way you do it. Like it has that feeling of like like I said, it feels like it was manufactured to be that way, not that it was. Not that it was like a piece, a piece of garbage that was being thrown out that you took and you gave new life to it. It feels like it was originally like when you get done with your pieces, the way that they're cut, the angles you always choose, the styling you do, like it feels like it was born to be that and not that it came from something else.
Oh, thank you. That's really what I'm going for. Um, I'm sorry. I just saw the comment from Mark. Thank you very much, Mark.
Oh, Mark, hey, how's it going, buddy? I actually got to go down, dude. He owns New Hampshire. I'm sorry, I'm fucking this up right now. It's Rail Trail e-bikes. Mark, what's the name of your e-bike store? But they just got electric skateboards, and I want to go down there so bad and try one out. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's Rail Trail e-bikes. He's like right off the rail trail in Derry. Do you know where that is?
I know where Derry is, but I'm not familiar with the rail trail in Derry.
Yeah, it is. It's Rail Trail e-bikes. So he's right downtown, and he does a lot of cool stuff for the town. And he came out to the skate park to hang out with us when when the skate park opened. And very cool dude here in town. And he just got some electric skateboards. I got to go down and check out.
Very cool.
That I'm pretty stoked on. Um, what were we
But
just,
yeah,
what were we just talking about?
oh, well, you were totally.
Oh, I was
You're
gassing
being
you up.
very kind to me about like how like when I'm done with stuff, it doesn't look like trash to get played with. It looks like nicer things. Like maybe it came from like the I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it was made.
Like
It
the
looks
gift
like it
shop.
was made that way on purpose, and not like it was just like someone fucking around in their garage, Because like I feel like
Yeah.
you could get, like we were talking about the handmade thing, like you could probably buy a CNC machine or something, right? That could make those cuts and kind of do almost a similar thing, I would think, or some sort of water cutting thing that could do something similar, right? But I mean, obviously, then it wouldn't be the hand cut like you do.
Right.
Like,
I
is there a
don't know
robotic
if, like,
process that does that?
I don't know as far as that goes. I know I've looked into. So right now, my big flat cuts I do with a masonry saw with a diamond blade in it, and it's a 10-inch blade, and I've kind of maxed out um, as price point wise, where like I've kind of hit an edge where like it's hard for me to say. Like,
Just let it out,
like
big guy.
the
No
stuff
judgment.
the stuff that you like commonly buy for like backyard projects or like a small business and things like that. Where if I had a larger blade, I could do bigger cuts in one swipe.
Mm-hmm.
But I've reached a point where stepping up to the next size equipment brings me up to like industrial, very expensive equipment. Where I've gone from a $1,000 saw with a $70 blade to a $4,000 saw with a $500 blade in it. And I'm just not at that point where I can spend that kind of bank. I've been lucky so far where from very early on, this hobby has paid for itself. And I do have a couple bucks aside for, I'd like to do some more merch. The logo you have up with Pinocchio on there. I have a couple hats that I had made. Yeah, looks like a certain wooden boy.
Yeah, I don't think that's Pinocchio.
Yeah,
That's his cousin Daryl.
yeah, Tarocchio.
That's Daryl, the wooden boy.
I don't know if a certain company owns the name Pinocchio because
They don't. They do not own the name Pinocchio, but that picture they definitely own that.
Yeah.
They may not.
Yeah.
They may not want to own it though because of the cigar in it.
Yeah, I mean, what company that sells things to kids would want, like a cigar and beer and pool cues hanging out in it?
Surely this isn't a certain mouse company who would put something like this out.
Yeah, that I'm going to visit in a month.
Ask them while you're there.
Yeah, I'll definitely wear that hat.
You know what I noticed when I was actually looking at this picture and making this is if you look at the back of the chair, there's like a donkey head.
Oh, neat.
And that's what they turn into.
Yeah.
I never noticed that before.
That was one of the few movies we had as a kid. We had a bunch of pirated movies as a kid. And I remember watching Pinocchio. We had a copy of Pinocchio at a very young age. And I definitely remember that whole scene where he like goes to the island and all the boys behave poorly and they smash out windows and they get drunk and smoke cigars.
Then they get turned into jackasses and
they get turned. It's so like traumatizing where like they're turning into jackasses and they're being tortured by their own actions.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, fun kids movie. That's great.
Well, did you see the new one that Benicio del Toro made? I think that's who did it.
Guillermo del Toro.
Who the fuck is Benicio del Toro?
Different guy.
My bad. That's my bad. I'm sorry, Guillermo.
Yeah. I think I watched it last week with my two sons, 5 and 8 years old.
Oh wow, that was a surprise, dude! I started watching that movie being like, so I was feeding my daughter, who is 3 months old at the time when the movie came out. And I thought, I just need something light I don't need to pay attention to while I'm bottle feeding my kid. So I like turned it on, and then within like the first 15 minutes, his son dies, and like, and it's just like an old man weeping drunkenly over his grave. I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't even finish it.
I'm glad that he's brought it back to the traumatizing childhood movies of the 80s.
Right? Oh my god.
Hey, let's go watch Old Yeller. That'll be fun. Yeah.
But I didn't realize it, but apparently Pinocchio started off as a religious story, so it actually makes sense that he brought it back to a religious, to have heavy religious undertones like that.
Yeah,
it was a great movie. I saw like 2/3 of it probably, and it was a really good movie. I just couldn't finish watching it because way too much dead kid shit going on, and like I just had a baby, so it was just too much. It was emotionally I couldn't take it.
I was totally a bum parent, and we put it on. I did take my kids out, and we had cheeseburgers at a local place, and went home and like,
To
hey,
convince them not to
let's
tell your wife that
yeah,
you watched it.
yeah. I we put on this movie, and I fell asleep on the couch. Like, I definitely saw the opening scene with the with the dead kid in it, and then at some point I fell asleep, and I wake up at the end, and my kids are just like jaws on the floor, staring at the screen. Like, what did we just watch, Dad?
Oh, Benicio. Benicio del Toro's an actor. Chris just.
Yeah,
That's
of
why I fucked it up.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, man.
That
He
all
was
right.
the.
That's why I messed it up.
It's the main thing I know him from.
I was like, what a weird thing to just. What a weird name to make up in my head. But apparently it is a real person. Okay, good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. It might have been Usual Suspects too. I've never seen it. I've heard so many references to it, but I've never seen
What,
it.
Usual Suspects or Fear and Loathing?
Well, Fear and Loathing I've watched a bunch of times, but Usual Suspects.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I wasn't huge on that movie, to be honest. I feel like it gets a lot more credit than it deserves. Personally.
I watched Fear and Loathing a lot, especially for someone who's never done hard drugs. I watched Fear and Loathing way too much.
I read the book. I don't think I've ever actually seen the movie, or I think I started it and never finished it. I can't remember.
I walked out of it in high school because I didn't get it. I was like, "What is this crap?" And then a couple of years later, I went back to it. I'm like, "This is amazing. This is absolutely insane. I love it."
I saw you just finished Catch 22.
Yes, yeah.
Not a fan, huh?
Not a huge fan. I guess maybe if I kind of relaxed a little bit more and tried not to like impose what I thought the book was going to be, but yeah, there's all this like manic stuff and these weird conversations where it's basically two insane people talking to each other, and like the way that they keep going off on tangents and things like that. I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. I did start today Murder on the Orient Express. Came in the mail. I started reading that, Agatha Christie. I think she follows me on Instagram. But
Agatha Christie does?
No, she's been dead for a very long time.
Oh, is she? I don't know.
Yeah, I think she wrote this in 1930 something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm like 40 pages into that already, and I'm not big on murder mysteries, but it's just kind of a name I've always heard. Murder on the Orient Express.
Did you see the movie?
So, check it out. Fell asleep during it. Yeah.
Good movie. Very good movie.
Yeah. So
I actually watched a YouTube video about the Orient Express is like a real thing.
yeah.
It's like a real train. I want to go on it so bad. It looks so awesome. It's like a 24-hour ride from like Italy to I don't even remember. But it goes through like it goes kind of like through the Middle East and then up through like Switzerland and shit, and then I think it ends in France.
Oh, nice. So not really through the Orient at all. That I would.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it goes through the Middle East a little bit.
All right. Yeah. It's the only part I'm having a hard time with is there's conversations in the book like, oh, we're stopping here at 9:55 tonight. I have no idea where that is on a map. Right?
Yeah, because it goes through Istanbul and stuff, doesn't it? So that's all in
Yeah.
Asia. So I guess that must be the Orient since it's Asia, right? I don't know. You're not even supposed to say that word anymore. So
no, I think Asia's still cool, but I think it's
yeah, I think you can say
like
Asia. I don't think you're
like Istanbul. I could be wrong. Is like Turkey.
Yeah, but I think that's in Asia, isn't it? Technically, like it's not a.
Yeah, technically, yeah, it's on the way western part of Asia.
Yeah. So maybe that's why it's considered. Maybe that's why.
Maybe. I figured the Orient is an old timey term for like the Far East, talking like China and things like that. But I Agatha Christie. Oh, cool. Chris is chiming is talking about watching Agatha Christie on YouTube.
Poiter? I've never even heard of it.
What's that?
Agatha Christie Poiter? Mystery show on
Oh,
YouTube.
I think it's Reddy Poirot is the name of the detective in
Oh,
it.
okay. You don't like
Super
you didn't.
French.
I thought. What'd you think of Glass Onion, Chris? I didn't see the original Knives Out, but I thought Glass Onion was really well done. Did you see that, Ernie?
I don't know. Sorry, I thought you were asking Chris.
The
I
delay
haven't.
on comments is super long, so it'll be like
Oh, yeah.
probably 30, 40 seconds before he even hears what we just said.
I haven't watched Glass Onion. I watched Knives Out, and I really liked Knives Out. No offense, Chris. That I think it. Okay, cool.
Istanbul is half in the continent of Asia. How did
That's
man?
probably
That's
right
got
on
to
the
be
line.
so fucking. That's like, there's no way. That's too much luck. Because they didn't know what a continent was when they fucking dropped that. There's no way that's halfway in Asia. It's half in Asia and half in Europe. I'm looking.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't. I'm trying to stay off my phone. I'm looking that up right now.
Well, you're gonna find out Istanbul and Constantinople are the exact same place, and then I'm gonna think of the song. um, yeah, I watched
Dude,
Knives
shut
Out.
the fuck up. All right, so
What?
apparently it sits on the continent of Europe, and part of it sits in Asia. What the fuck?
You thought crossing a time zone was bad, having a city. Imagine being in different continents.
Well, what are the odds of that? Because it's not like they knew what like fault lines were or anything. Like, how did they like? What a lucky shot! What the fuck? How did they do that?
Who didn't just put a little bump on the map and be like, you know what, this city's been here since the dawn of time. Let's just go around it for the line. Pick one.
Oh, there's a river separating it, and that must be the
okay.
that must be the fault line, and that's where and then the city must be on both sides of the river. I think is what Chris is saying. Either way,
Chris,
dude,
you're
that's
just
pretty.
showing the failures of the public education
That
system.
legitimately seems impossible. That like, because that I feel like Istanbul's been around forever too, so it's not like. No, all right, all right, Chris, I was wrong. I believe you. All right, I've already said I was wrong. No, I said he was wrong before, and I take it back. I was wrong, Chris. You were right.
That's okay. I get what having it on a river makes a lot of sense.
It does. That makes more sense. I still feel like that's super lucky, but I feel like that almost seems like you couldn't write that. Like
Yeah.
if you wrote that in a movie, people would be like, "That's a little too far." You know what I mean?
But yeah, I geek out on certain movies. Speaking for running back around to like Knives Out, where if you look at some of the details behind the scenes and like some of this like choice shots of the director and things like that, there's a lot of like hidden things in Knives Out that are going on that like give you hints along the way of who the guilty person is and things like that, and who's lying and who's not and stuff like that. For examples in like other shows, in Breaking Bad,
Mm-hmm.
there's color schemes going on where if somebody's lying, it'll be like a lot of purple in the shot. Where if somebody's being greedy, there'll be a lot of green in the shot and things like that. Where I just happened to notice it watching the series where like, man, there's a lot of like reds in this scene. What's going on here? And I looked up like Breaking Bad color code, and it turns out the director had this whole thing for to give you a feel of whatever mood is going on. They like had a bunch of that color in the shot. Like the person would be wearing that color, the room would be painted that color, things like that.
That's weird. Kind of cool.
It's weird little details that I like fixate on and things like that.
It's weird that you picked up on that because there's no way I would have picked up on that.
It's just a common mind. And have you seen? Was it The Haunting of Hill House?
The TV show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, streaming Netflix.
And then it just
Have
turns
you
out
heard-
that it's just like a drug thing.
It's like a weird time loop with a murder suicide thing going on.
Yeah, but wasn't it like a drug? Like that was the thing. The mother was, I think, a drug addict, and that was like why it was. That was like the thing
Could've
that
been.
was haunting everybody. I don't know, but that dude
Could've
with the
been.
tall stick, dude. I like the first half of that series because I do not do well with horror movies, like horror stuff, at all. Like I'm super easily scared by shit like that, and like have nightmares and stuff. I'm supposed to do with this this live show with Whiskey Morgue, and he's gonna bring up 10. He's gonna send me 10 horror movies to watch, and I'm gonna watch them, dude. And I can tell you right now that that month of fucking horror movies is gonna just about kill me. But
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm a little bit of a horror movie nerd. I'm sure I can't keep pace with Whiskey Mort. I follow him. I comment on his stuff. He seems like we've messaged each other a few times. Seems like a super nice guy. Please tell him I said hi. Uh,
bro, fucking watch the live stream and tell him yourself. March 11th. Get out
oh,
here.
that's true too. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a great guy. But like, I don't mind like 80s kind of horror, like the real ridiculously cheesy stuff. You know, that doesn't really bother me. But like jump scares get me like 99% of the time. And I don't really like the feeling of being scared. So like I know some people really thrive and they love it. I don't really like that. Like I don't like that feeling. And then yeah, like a lot of modern movies that are like really gory. Ever since I had kids, I like can't handle a lot of
Yeah.
gore. Freaks me out too much.
I definitely have moments. I'm like, wait, this is entertainment for me. Like, what am I watching here? But I don't know. Like, it's certain types when it's really good storyline and they really hype up like more of the drama of it than just like the cheap scares or anything like that. I really enjoy. I'm a bit of a horror movie. Sorry, zombie movie nerd, and
See, zombies don't
it's
scare
more.
me. I've never really
Yeah.
zombies are the least scary of all the monsters.
Really?
Yeah, no. Like the slow zombies, the fast zombies, like 28 days later zombies, those are
Yeah.
those are scary. Like if you can have a zombie that's just like in a full on sprint at all times, that's super scary. But like just shuffling zombies, that never really did anything for me.
Oh, yeah, the
Actually,
idea of those is
Chris,
that.
just to like shoot it, Chris, just if you do make that video, let me know because I would really like to see it because I literally have never heard anybody say anything bad about the Knives Out series.
Yeah, I'd like to
It'd
see
be
it.
interesting to hear what you thought was not good. I'm sure. I'm sure. Actually, Freddy was my favorite. My brother used to dress up like Freddy and scare me
Nice.
growing up. But
Pinhead from Hellraiser was my guy.
yeah, just
Yeah, oh yeah.
is that why you turned into like a bondage freak? When you got,
Totally didn't catch some of the. I mean, it's pretty thick in some of the movies, but it just wasn't where I was fixating on as a kid.
So going back to what you were talking about before with so you kind of like on that edge where like you kind of need if you want to keep going up to the next level you need to go into like almost buying industrial level tools and blades and that kind of thing and then but you're not quite there yet. So like what do you have plans to like move in that direction or is this like are you kind of capped where you are? What do you think it is like your next move?
I'm always kind of looking at refining like what's taking me the most time right now. So in making a glass, where do I spend the majority of my time? What's the low hanging fruit as far as if let's say it takes me an hour to make a rocks glass, um, what's taking me the most time in that hour, and how do I cut percentages off that time? Um, and I found that like for a lot of my earlier stuff, when I cut a rocks glass, I would do a snapping method where I would scribe a line around the bottle. Excuse me, I would scribe a line around the bottle and then shock it with hot and cold water until the glass snapped. Unfortunately, I lose a decent percentage of my bottles that way because once you snap it, if something goes south and the crack doesn't follow horizontally around the bottle, it's just garbage and goes in the recycling bin. And even when it's good, getting that cracked edge down to flat would take me like a bunch of time. So, and then super earlier on, it was me wet sanding on a board. So I'd have the bottle that I'm going to play with this, but I want to make sure there's no bourbon left in it. But I'd have it and I'd sand it, and to get that edge flat around the flat before I started actually like polishing it up, would take me a super long time. So I went out and I bought a sander to make that faster. And then I went out and bought that big masonry saw. So now most bottles, depending on the shape of the bottle, I can run them through the saw and get a nice flat edge to start off with. So I'm kind of, and it went from taking me like a week to make a glass to I can make like a dozen glasses in a day. So
It's pretty fucking good.
yeah, I mean, it depends on how you show the time. Where it'd be like 5 hours. Basically, I went from 5 hours a glass to like well under 1 hour glass.
Well, your day
So
job is a process engineer, so this is what you do. What you do all day is find right is find like
yeah,
wasted time basically, and figure out how you can make it less wasted.
yeah, it's there's definitely a portion of my job. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay, we need to get this out of here faster. Where can we cut the fat out of this system? So there is a huge carryover from one to the other, and it's fun for me to be like, okay, I did this, I made this little change, and now it takes me like 10 minutes less to do this thing. So it's why the bigger saw is for some of the bottles where if I jump up from my 10-inch blade to a 14-inch blade, there's the Blanton's bottles when I cut those vertically to turn them into ashtrays, like really cool kind of pineapple shaped bottles.
Mm-hmm.
I have to cut them twice on my saw, where I cut them, I flip them over, I try and line up the cut as best I can, and I run them through again.
Oh, that's gotta be nerve wracking.
Yeah, and if I don't line up that cut dead on, I set myself either up for a lot more time sanding or the bottle's garbage. So if I had that 14-inch saw, I could run them through one cut and have a flat edge, no problem.
Right.
But is it worth me spending $4,000, $5,000 with a blade on another saw?
Right. Well, then also you got to take into consideration, like, at least I've always found, because you run into the same problem with cameras, right? Because every camera is like incrementally better than the last camera. But then eventually you start running into the problem where it's like you can always get better, and then you need to figure out like where does it just not like does it really make sense to get better? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Is this where I want to put my money right now in this thing, and how much returns do I get on it?
And the
I
artist in
was,
you obviously is like, yes, it's 100% worth it because all that matters is like doing the best work possible, right? And like that's all
yeah,
that really matters to you. At least that's what I find myself, and I'm like, I have to talk myself off the ledge for cameras all the time.
yeah,
You know, I just I get like once you hit once you hit 4K, and then now I'm like, dude, this is so awesome. Like I have everything I need, but imagine if I had a cinema camera instead. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like what if I had a $5,000 camera? You know what I mean, to shoot stupid internet videos with. Like imagine how much better they would be then. You know, so like. I feel like there is. It sounds like you probably run into the same problem where like you're always chasing like that next thing. Like there's always going to be something better, and
Oh yeah,
you gotta kind of decide like, okay, I really don't need that. This is just like my brain, fucking like wanting it more than needing it.
yeah, and that's again, it's mostly with the saw because the sandpaper. I don't geek out on sandpaper. The sandpaper is the sandpaper. Uh, I'm sure some people do. I'm sure with your background in auto body, I'm sure either you or people have had their tastes in sanding equipment, things like that. But actually, now that I think of it, so I've got a 6-inch um, combo like benchtop sander, and well, what if I went to like a 10 or a 12-inch that they sell? But it gets like less common to find the sanding paper for it and things like that. So it's definitely I see what you're saying as far as I want the new bigger toy, but my Blanton's bottle connection kind of dried up, so I can't do that as much. Where even if I had the big saw, I don't have the bottles to cut, which is a little frustrating for me as far as like you said, like, I can't go down to the store and buy empty bottles of booze. Like it just doesn't happen that way.
Right.
And living in small town New Hampshire, there's only so many whiskey bars around, especially whiskeys that are like hard to find anyway.
Well, and that you can avoid getting shot at in
Yeah.
Manchester. Fuck, dude. That's just like, I mean, Manchester's been getting worse and worse, but holy shit. Like, what a fucking. Did you hear about that kid who got shot outside the Soho? Fucking terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
24 years old, fucking with a daughter. Not gonna go home. Fucking.
Oh no.
Yeah. Super fucking sad, dude. I didn't know him. We had a lot of mutual friends. It's fucking sad shit that, like, that kind of thing's going on right now. How much of that's going on in Manchester?
Yeah, Manchester's always, it's still got that like rough Milltown heritage to it, where I well, I was born in Manchester. I lived there till I was 5, and then my parents moved out to Ware, and but both my parents still lived in Manchester. My dad was a firefighter. My mom worked at that Velcro factory, uh, but it's always had that kind of dirty Milltown feel to it, and unfortunately, just can't kind of shrug it off.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grew up there. I spent my whole life there up until a few years ago, and like when you're there, you don't realize it, and then you get out of it, and you're like, oh wow, it really is like an inner city kind of like vibe to it, you know?
Yeah,
like I used to live on Lake Ave, and like we had, our upstairs neighbors
geez.
was stabbing each other, and fucking there were prostitutes walking up and down the street every night, but like it never fazed me because it was just like the thing that I was used to, and then you get out and you look back. And now I drive through that neighborhood and lock my doors and fucking try not to make eye contact with anybody.
Yeah, I definitely. I had an apartment for a few years in Manchester, and it was one night I was designated driver driving my roommates home from a bar, and we were going. It's kind of over by Central High School that our place was, and at the bottom of the hill, at 1:30 in the morning, at like this time of year, there was a young lady, not wearing much, out in the cold, on the corner. And my roommates kind of hung out the window and said hi to her, and she seemed pretty happy to say hi to us back. And I just kind of sped off and like dodged over a couple blocks, things like that. Like, dude, we live on this street. She's gonna see us pull into our driveway. Not a great idea.
Not smart, guys. Not smart. Yeah, the homeless problem has gotten really bad in Manchester lately, and just been a lot of violence, a lot of shootings, a lot of terrible stuff happening. I mean, it's not what I expected, because the city was always like kind of rough, but it never felt like it was like, I don't know, dangerous, And now it just feels different now than it did before.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised because that homeless encampment they just kicked out for the last week or two. That it was right by like the central fire station, things like that. And you saw like a local daycare closed down. Like we can't be here anymore. It's just we get homeless people right outside the window.
I used to box right next to.
If you're hanging out by Mike's Pub and Grub, you're a more dangerous guy than I am for sure.
I used to box right next to there, and there was always drunks stumbling out of there. That was a wild place.
Yeah, somebody I worked with at the Harley dealership rented an apartment above there. They were talking about pulling into the parking lot and running over crack pipes. So.
Oh yeah, no, it was that's a hell of a place. There used to be another place across the street called Flo's. So there was Mike's Pomegrubs and there was Flo's across the street, and they were like just the two seediest bars you can't even imagine. It was like you would just see the people stumbling in and out of there, and it was like, what the fuck, like you know what it's like when you have kids and like you look around and you're like, man, everybody, like all these other kids used to be just like all these people used to be just like my kid,
Yeah. Yeah. I heard stories.
Yeah, that sucks, Chris. That's good of you to have done that, though. That's not easy. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
care,
It's good. Yeah.
caring for people like that. That's not it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in. Very tough spot to be in. This took a super fucking dark turn. Um, but oh, dude, Mike's Puppet Grub would probably give you all kinds of bottles. Actually,
Yeah, yeah. Whether or not I want to touch them, different story. But there is a few places up and down Elm Street. Again, um, the Shaskeen has been awesome. I know at least one of the owners there fairly well. He's been a great guy, and they've filled up my car multiple times with empty bottles of booze. They were my original Blanton's hookup because they used to go in on a they buy Blanton's bourbon by the barrel. Like they pick their barrel that they wanted. They had some kind of tasting event that went on, and they get to pick out which one they thought was best for them. So they were hooking me up with those for a long time. Uh, the bar manager from the Foundry down in the mill yard.
yep.
He's been Zach. He's been hooking me up for a nice long time with higher shelf bottles, and I really appreciate all he's hooked me up with. There's one or two other places in Manchester I'd kind of like to get my foot in the door and to get in touch with.
Where?
See, for one, 815.
All right.
I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's kind of a non-assuming place. It's the address is actually 815 Elm Street, and I've been there a couple times with my wife. Very cool, chill bar, craft drinks, cool stuff on the walls, no TVs going on.
I bet you if you sent them an email, they would be more than happy to work with you.
Oh, well, we have a lot of mutual connections, mutual friends, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I left because I'm so much of a weirdo. I had a couple drinks there one night with my wife, and instead of actually like coming out and saying like, "Hey, my name's Ernie," I do this thing where I make things out of whiskey bottles. I just left a couple of my stickers on the table.
Okay.
And the next time I went there, they had my stickers on the door.
All right.
So that was pretty cool.
Maybe they must have checked you out then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to them, dude, they don't know who you were, so you're just like this mystery person.
Yeah. I just socially awkward to that extent. Like that was just where I left it. Through a mutual friend, I made I would call it like a candy dish out of a Bland's bottle.
Yep.
For him, and it got to one of the owners, and I checked in, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks. That was very cool. That was very nice of you to make that." Oh, cool. Okay. I'm like, all right.
You gotta ask, dude. You gotta land the ask.
Well, they have definitely said like next time you come in, say hi. It's just whenever I've been in there, the few times I'm not a homebody that I go in there.
Dude, anyone you want to talk to, just let me know. I have literally zero concern about reaching out to people and starting conversations. So if there's anyone if you want to ask them a question, let me know.
Yeah, appreciate it. So the last time I was in there, day night with my wife, and we were having a couple of drinks and appetizers there, and the place filled up really quick, and I didn't have it in me to be like start a conversation with one of the owners while they were working, like while they were like, "Hey, I got stuff going on. I don't have time to play around and say
right."
Hi. Like they're running their business. I don't want to interrupt them.
Right.
So.
Well, I never shut the fuck up. So just let me know. I'll fucking gladly do it for you.
Yeah. And Greenleaf out in Milford. I don't know if you saw the pictures I did lately. I made like vases out of some gin bottles that had like cool like tigers and flowers and stuff on them and birds and things like that.
Yep.
The bar manager Jillian has been really cool with hooking me up. She gave me another like couple cases worth of those bottles. So we cut.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool of her.
Do you ever? What about the copper door? My buddy knows the people who own the copper door.
I'd be super excited to talk to them. I'm sure they've got all sorts of fancy bottles they go through.
Yeah, my buddy Sean knows them, I think. And then who's the other? I'm trying to think of any restaurateurs I know. I don't know. I'll ask around. I'll see if I know anybody.
I think it'd be super cool to have some kind of hookup where sorry, reading comments.
Oh,
Uh, it'd be awesome where I had some kind of hookup where a restaurant served drinks out of my glasses. So like I had like a constant flow of like, restaurants go through glasses. Things are gonna get dropped, things get broken, you know, people walk out the door with
oh, dude, I
glasses.
should introduce you to
Like that.
my buddy Mark over at the Westbrook Inn.
Oh yeah.
They they're like a wedding venue and like well, they're not really a wedding venue. They're like an everything venue over in Derry.
Okay.
Super cool dude, really awesome family, super nice like family. I bet you they would. I bet you they have some shit. I'll introduce you guys. I bet you guys would get along, and
Yeah.
they do a lot of cool shit.
Yeah. I've thought about trying to get my toe in the door at like the Bedford Village Inn because they're like the fancy place that I know of.
I
But
don't even know where that is. The Bedford Village Inn. I'm guessing in Bedford.
yeah. If you were leaving Manchester on 101 and you went by the Copper Door,
Yeah.
they're like a quarter mile away.
I didn't even know the Copper Door was in Manchester.
Well, it's in. I guess I'm just giving you kind of a direction where
Oh, okay.
you're heading west. I think Copper Door's in Bedford, but the Bedford Village Inn definitely in Bedford. I'll tell you that.
The Dairyfield Country Club. You should hit them up.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
fucking they're publicly owned, right? They owe
I
you.
don't know.
Pretty sure the town
Listen
of
here,
Manchester
I'm
pays.
part owner of this place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the town of Manchester owns them, or the city of Manchester owns them.
Could be.
Right? Someone fact check that for me. But I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure that Dairyfield Country Club is owned by the city of Manchester.
Could
So your tax dollars pay for it. So I'm sure they fucking
Yeah.
you can go in there like you own the place.
Yeah, I'll tell them how it is. Listen here, I pay your salary. You work for me.
So when you were working at Harley, were you doing like mechanics? What were you doing over there?
About half of my time was as a mechanic. And then I went and was a service writer, the guy you talked to coming in the door. Yeah, that was. So I didn't get my college degree right out of high school. I got out of high school. I went and did. I worked. I was in the Air Force for 4 years. Then I get out and I went to motorcycle school down in Phoenix, Arizona. And then I ended up coming back up to Manchester and working for the local Harley shop.
That's cool.
Yeah, and after about 5 years, some things kind of happened, and I got the chance to go back to school. So it had been 10 years since high school, and I went and got 2 associate's degrees and a bachelor's degree.
All right, we're gonna shift gears here for a minute, and
Okay.
we're gonna play a little game.
Oh,
So, the Granite Buffalo. You know what else is called a buffalo? An
What's that?
actual buffalo. And so
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you 15 questions about buffaloes, so we can see if you're really part of their pack, part of their herd.
all right, I can. Yeah, afterwards I'll explain the name Granite Buffalo.
Do you want to
But
get
yeah,
a little more drunk before we do this?
No,
Okay. Why don't
Is
you
it-
explain what?
am I obviously drunk?
No,
I mean, I'm a little
I don't.
tipsy.
No,
Okay.
no, you're not. I'm just
Alright.
I'm just joking. Do you want? Why don't you explain where did the name Granite Buffalo come from?
Well, the granite's the easy part. New Hampshire, everything's granite around here.
Makes sense.
Buffalo. So my last name is Bisson, Bisson,
That's funny.
and mispronounced like my whole life. So it was Bisson, bison, buffalo. That's where that came from. So
That's
there's
hilarious.
there's no like huge deeper meaning behind it. It was just
I'm disappointed because I knew your full name and I didn't put that together. And now I don't like you say it. It's so obvious. I can't believe I didn't realize that's what it was.
I've known people for years and like had bosses and things like that who legitimately thought my last name was just Bison. And I didn't bother like correcting them at any point in time.
All right, well, today we're going to see if you really are a bison.
All right,
All right, so question number 1. Are you ready?
ready.
All right. How much is the average weight of a male bison?
800 pounds.
Not even close. 2,000.
Jeez, holy crap!
That's so big. The females weigh around 1,000.
Oh, the petite,
Dude,
petite.
but this is the crazy part. They're only 4 to 5 feet tall.
Yeah,
So 2,000 pounds at 5 feet tall.
monstrous meat wads.
So
of
they're just
creatures.
shorter. So they're like shorter than me. Because I'm 5'10". So they're like up to here, but they're 2,000 pounds. That's nuts.
Yeah.
I figured they were taller. Well, I mean, wait, hold on. Oh no, males can be 6 feet tall. That's still
Okay,
not that
yeah.
big, especially since that's got to be their hump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a hump, and it's all like seems like it's all head.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. That seems. I felt like they were taller. To be honest with you, that's weird. All right. So question number 2. Are you ready?
yeah.
Hold on. I gotta. Just so everybody
Come on,
knows.
I'm ready.
So I have the like information. I just need to figure out how to turn it into a question. Hold on. I'm sorry.
pressure.
I fucked
No
up.
pressure.
All right. I wasn't ready apparently.
Yeah.
Hold on. Do you know what the actual difference between a bison and a buffalo is?
I know that. No, I don't. I think there's no buffalo in North America. That they're all actually bison, but I don't know the difference, like physiologically, between the two.
So you are correct. There are no buffalo in North America because there is actually no such thing as a buffalo.
Ah,
It is the bison. It's the genus bison, species bison, subspecies bison.
yeah, they're bison. Yeah.
But buffalo came from the French word for beef, which is boeuf, Boeuf,
Oh.
boeuf. So that's where the name buffalo came from.
That's cool.
So Granite Buffalo doesn't. You actually should be Granite Bison.
Granite bison.
That's weird. Man, I should have read these before I fucking did this. Where in the U.S. is the only place where bison have continuously lived since prehistoric times? There's one place in the U.S. where bison have lived for around 5,450 years.
New Boston, New Hampshire. I heard there's a buffalo farm out there. So that's all I got.
The only place is Yellowstone National Park,
Oh,
and they
that
have
would
lived
make
there for fucking ever, apparently.
sense. That's
What were we gonna say?
oh no, the one of the distilleries, Buffalo Trace, that makes a lot of products I enjoy so much. Thank you, Buffalo Trace. Don't ever come after me to stop making things from your bottles. Is of course out of like Kentucky, and it's just weird because it's based on old buffalo trails out of Kentucky, and it's weird for me to think that they were that far east. I think of them like out west, like
They're the oldest. That Buffalo Trace is the oldest distillery in America, and they were one of the only whiskey distilleries who were able to keep their license through prohibition.
oh nice. Was that one of your questions?
No, I learned that recently. I don't even remember
Yeah.
where I learned that, but yeah, they were able to keep their license through prohibition because they got like a medical use approval.
There was some interesting things where you get your medical card for booze. during Prohibition. Definitely not see that story play out anywhere else.
All right, so Mr. Buffalo,
Yes,
Mr. I know everything about Buffalo.
oh, geez.
What is a red dog?
Besides the cheap beer that came out in the late 90s, a red dog.
A red dog.
I'm gonna imagine it is some kind of form of bison that has a reddish tint to its coat.
Maybe it's a bison during a certain period of its life
Oh, is it molting?
where it
Is
was
is there
only just
hormonal
recently
change?
born.
Oh, okay.
So baby bison are born and they're like red. They're like a
Yeah.
light red color. Here, I'll show you the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they call them red dogs. And after a few months, their hair starts to change to a dark brown,
Oh,
and they grow their hump. But before that, they're humpless.
sans hump.
That's what they called me in high school.
Sans hump.
So that's my famous move.
Oh, look at that. Mark says bison can run faster than horses. Oh, yeah. He was in on the red dog. He knew what was up.
He knew. Mark coming out of fucking nowhere with the good answers. What's going on?
Yeah.
All right. So what does it mean if a bison's tail is standing straight up?
Bison's tail is standing straight up.
Straight up.
It's gonna rain. Mating season. I
The opposite. The opposite. The opposite of mating season.
I imagine some kind of danger signal.
It is a danger signal. You are
Oh,
correct.
nice.
So what is that? That's one. So you got one.
Yes.
One. And if their tail is down and just kind of chilling, it means
Yeah.
that they're in a good mood.
All right. Cool.
So you can tell if they're pissed if they're standing straight up. I also would have guessed a sex thing though, to be honest with you. So I feel like. So hold on, let's see. So you
It
missed the
means
first
they're
one.
gonna poop. Yes, Chris. I agree.
I bet you it doesn't. I bet you they're not even. They don't even. They just let. They don't even
Lift
worry
it
about
up
what
a
their
little
tail's
bit.
doing when they're pooping. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. How fast can a buffalo run? And faster than a horse doesn't count, Mark.
I'm gonna say, based on Mark's faster than a horse, I'm gonna say 40 miles an hour.
So close, but I can't give it to you because you're
Ah.
35 miles an hour.
Oh man.
If you had been within 3, I was gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
But 5 is too many. But yeah, they can go up to 35 miles. Dude, isn't that crazy? I always think about shit like that. Next time you're driving your car 35 miles an hour, just like look to the right and be like, there could be an entire ass buffalo running alongside me.
I have been chased by a moose, and I was driving a Jeep, and it was 35 miles an hour before we started pulling away from a moose.
Holy shit.
So that was when I was in Alaska in the Air Force. We saw moose every day, and yeah, it was definitely, and it was super awkward because it was all looking elbows out coming after us.
Yeah, they're so goofy. They're so ridiculous looking.
Big old swamp donkeys coming at you.
Dude, I'll never forget one time I'm driving down the street in the middle. I'm driving down the road in the middle of Manchester, over by Memorial High School. And
Yeah.
I'm driving and I'm like, dude, is that a horse? Like, what is that? This fucking moose is like just in the middle of the road and it's standing super, super still like this. And then it's like, I say like this, like I'm fucking obviously not standing very still. It's standing as still as possible.
Very moosey of you, yeah.
And then I'm like fucking like flash the high beams at it and it jumps up, and rather than get out of the road, it just starts running down the road away from me, like right down the middle of the road, and I'm like, I fucking can't get by it, dude. And it's like we do this for like probably a mile and a half or so, and then finally it like jumps to the side and just stands wicked still, like I can't see it. I'm like, you fucking idiot! Like, like what was that? Now that I know that they can run 35 miles per hour, I'm pissed because he was probably going like 7. He was just like trotting, like and I was just behind him, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, and then he just jumped off to the side and was like, just his tail fucking moving. Dude, what the fuck? That's hilarious. Yeah, no, but that was moose are fucking huge. People don't even realize how big moose are until like you're up close on them. But if he had decided to fuck with my car, I would have been fucked.
Yeah, they're monsters. They're I've had a couple closer calls than I would like with moose.
Apparently, killer whales eat moose.
What?
Yeah, because moose swim.
Yeah, okay. I do know moose swim. Yeah,
and they'll go out in the ocean. They'll go out in, I don't know where, but in the same ocean that killer whales are at, and like occasionally a killer whale snag a fucking moose.
Yeah. Imagine being an easy target because they don't really know what's going on.
Dude, imagine being underwater and then you're like a fucking moose swims by you.
What the fuck is this? I'm not used to any of this.
Dude, can you fucking imagine? Like, because have you ever been in the like at a lake or anything and seen one come up out of the water?
No, I haven't seen. I haven't seen a moose come up out of the water. No.
I have, and it's like the most shocking thing because you're like, what the fuck? Because I didn't even know moose. I figured moose couldn't even swim. They're so gangly and weird. You know, like no coordination. They're like the least athletic animal of all time. I'm sure they can. 2,000 pounds? I feel like bison could probably fuck up just about anything.
Yeah, if it's just like kind of stampeding, charging at you.
How often do they fight though?
I don't know.
Lions. I don't know. Cats are fucking scary, anyways, dude. I always think about that fun fact that like if cats were the same size as us, they would just fucking destroy us. They would just eat us. We would just be prey.
I'm not that afraid of like dogs 101. Like I've got a 60-pound dog, and she's awesome, and she's a sweetheart. We've had her for like 8 or 9 years now, and I was saying that if a dog that size came at me, I'm not that worried about it. But if a 60-pound cat came at me, that's terrifying.
Game over.
Yeah.
Game over. My rule is I'm not afraid of any animal that's less than half my weight.
Yeah.
That's like, I feel like as long as they're less than half my weight, I can still fuck them up. But once they start getting over that, I start getting nervous. Dogs are pussies. Usually you don't have to worry about dogs.
Well, dogs have like, in my scientific brain, dogs have one danger area, their mouth. You have to worry about a dog's mouth. A cat has the mouth and then all those murder mittens going on there. And
Well, dogs also typically won't, if you stand your ground and like yell at them, they'll usually just be like, fuck. And then they'll, you know what I mean? Whereas like cats, I feel like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and you probably don't see them coming.
Do you know what you're supposed to do if you're attacked by a mountain lion?
Die?
Other than die, if you're trying to defend yourself, you're supposed to try and stick something in its butt.
Oh, really? That's your answer for everything.
There was I don't remember, I was watching this documentary about like when animals attack, and this old couple got attacked like out in the woods, and the fucking old lady was like tried to stick a stick up its ass, and then it like cut to the park ranger, and they're like, if you fucking get attacked by a mountain lion, you're supposed to try and jam something up its ass, basically. Like,
I mean, it put me off my game as a predator.
Yeah, no, I mean, any animal, if they come at you and you try and stick something up their ass, they're probably not going to like it.
Yeah. It's gonna go one of two ways.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't like it. It's actually worse if they do like it.
Obviously, either they're gonna fight more or they're gonna take off.
All right, back to the bison question, you pervert. All right.
Yeah.
So how many hours a day does your average bison spend foraging for food?
16.
I had a pit bull, Chris. They are pussies. I'm telling you right now.
My dog is a pit bull, and she's an absolute sweetheart. And she, I do see the big block head and the potential to be, a dangerous dog. But I still think pound for pound, a big cat would be scarier.
Well, like you were saying, they only have the one point of contact. So it's basically if you're ever attacked by a dog, what you're supposed to do is try to like wrap your arm up in a jacket and let them bite it, and then you kind of grab their head, and you can kind of choke them out, or you can swing them into something. Because usually, once a dog has bitten you, they will not let go.
Yeah, and Mark, yes, monkeys are terrifying.
Yeah, monkeys, 130 pounds. They're half my size. That's more than half my size. That's scary. I'm not fucking
and
with
they
a monkey.
like to bite off fingers and noses and soft parts and things like that.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck with a chimp, but like one of those little monkeys, I bet I could fuck up one of those little monkeys if I had to.
Come at you like a spider monkey.
I wouldn't want to because they're cute, but if fucking worst case scenario, if I had to do it, I would do it. So how many fucking hours does a buffalo spend foraging for food?
I think I said 16. I'm sticking with 16.
Are you sure? You don't want to maybe reduce that by 5 or so?
Oh, but maybe, thinking about it scientifically, about 11 hours a day that they're foraging for food.
You did it.
Oh, wow.
9 to 11 hours a day they spend foraging for food.
I'm a buffalologist.
Yeah, no, that's basically about how much time I spend looking for food too, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I did raid the fridge right before we started on this, so yeah, I get it.
I know, that's why I'm burping like this. I just had like a chicken parm sub, and I'm like, when I go upstairs, I'm like, maybe I can just have a little something before bed, you know? Hold on, this is a trick we wanted to turn into a question. I'm going to skip that one. How old does the average bison live to be? Mark knows this one. Mark knows this one.
In captivity, up to 40 years. In the field, 25.
40 years?
Yeah.
What did you just say? 40 and what?
You ever say captivity? Like if you had your buffalo in a zoo, the 40 years, but I'm gonna say out in the wilds of Utah, 25.
Between 10 and 20 years.
Oh.
Mark coming in with 25. Close, but no cigar. Big Papa. It's 10 to 20 years they live. And their best breeding age, actually that could be the next question. What is the best breeding age for a young buffalo?
Well,
from your experience, judging by your experience.
Now that we say 10 to 20 and thinking that critters in the animal kingdom tend to get an early start, I'm going to say 4?
Prime breeding age from 6 to 10.
Oh.
But then they also could die at 10. So, they could just be mid bang.
Yeah.
And then it's game over. And then something takes them out. What a way to go. What a way to go. Why do bison are apparently known for wallowing in the dirt. And they roll around in the dirt.
Okay.
Why do they do that, do you think?
It's a bath thing. And cooling down, too. I go with cleaning and cooling down.
All right, there's a lot of reasons, and none of them are well, I guess I'm gonna give it to you because the biggest reason is to deter flies from biting them, and also to help shed their fur, which are both. I would call that cleaning. That's cleaning.
All right, yeah.
And then they also do it to show off how strong they are during mating season.
Watch me dig this rut.
Yeah. with my neck hump. Look at how strong my neck hump is. Did you ever see those fish that like make like mandalas, basically?
I see. Actually, like, there's one with like the neck. Well, maybe it's a frog, but like the neck bloat thing, and like,
Dude, no, they collect like rocks and dirt and they spit them into these like super intricate designs.
well, seems like a lot of work.
All just to get a lady. All just to get a lady fish to be interested. Hold on, I think it's a blowfish. I'm gonna look it up to show you.
They can actually. They're smart enough to make patterns and stuff like that. It's,
Well,
fish come from my job.
that's the thing. I can't find it, but anyway, I'll send it to you later. But like, that's the thing, right? Is because it's like, is that art? Because like, that feels like art, doesn't it?
And it's purposefully made. It's something that's.
But are they just being biologically driven, or is it? I mean, it's built with intention. It's the intention is to get your rocks off, as it were.
I'm gonna say it's fish art. I'm gonna say that counts as art.
I think it does. I actually got in an argument with my friend about it, who did not think that it counted as art because there wasn't a human doing it. But to me,
Your friend's wrong.
I thought so too. I thought so too. But yeah, they make fucking like basically like intricate. You know what a mandala is?
Yeah.
They basically make like those, but with fucking out
Yeah.
of rocks and dirt. It's the craziest shit you've ever seen. It's a fish.
If they're if there's like somewhat of a pattern to it and it's intentionally made, I'm gonna call that art.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thought it was definitely was, but no, you should look them up. They're wicked cool. And also crows make like jewelry.
Oh, neat. I know they like shiny stuff.
They'll like thread shiny stuff onto other stuff, like sticks and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right? What? Fuck. Crows are creepy anyways though. I don't fuck with crows.
I like crows. I mean, I don't fuck with them, but I think
I want a
they're
rookery.
cool.
I would like to have a rookery in my yard, but I like read this study. They did a study about like how vengeful crows are, and like if you like they like recognize people, and they'll like target people if they don't like them and shit. No, for real, it's scary. Fuck, imagine.
I've heard of some kind of like certain murder hornet will do the same thing. Like they'll remember who you are and go figure it.
Oh, it's a dickhead. Oh shit, is that Ernie?
Oh man,
Get him! Murder hornets. I'm glad that they didn't become a big problem.
yeah. I saw something on like TikTok where a guy had like trapped one under a clear plastic cup, and somebody else chimed in or stitched in or whatever it is, whatever the kids call it, and they're like, yeah, you picked the wrong like bee thing to mess with. That thing remembers who people are and will come find you later.
Yeah, I'm not about that life, dude. Those murder hornets, like when we thought that was gonna be a thing in like 2020.
Yeah,
I'm glad that didn't become like a thing. The Asian murder hornet.
Yeah. I at the time my kid was big into watching Coyote Peterson videos, Brave Wilderness, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
The dude started off like pulling turtles out of swamps and things like that, and then he found out like if he takes videos of himself like getting bit and stung by things, his views will go like through the roof. Hint, hint. But
get me something to bite me. I'll do it. Fuck it.
Oh, dude, he had the snapping turtle bite him, and it was not good because it wasn't like a trained snapping turtle that like knew the gig and like, oh, I'm just gonna like take a whack and like let you go. This thing was just holding on to his whole like forearm.
Dude,
and
that's fucked up because those things will legitimately fuck you up, dude. I've seen like some big ass fucking snapping turtles.
Yeah. He picked a younger one. Gratefully, he didn't pick like 100-pound snapping turtle or anything like that, but he was definitely his arm was kicking off afterwards. It did not go good for him.
Have you ever I've been in a couple situations where like giant snapping turtles were like in the road.
Yeah.
And we had to like get them out of the road. Like me and some assistants, like we had to try and like get these fucking turtles out of the road, dude. And like I didn't really think anything of it, but I had watched videos later on. Apparently they can extend their necks like the entire length of their neck is as long as like their whole body. So like they can fucking stick their neck out and come around and bite you if you're pulling on their tail.
Oh, I didn't know that because there's definitely It's definitely a time where I think we just had our oldest son at the time. We were outside having dinner on like a summer night, like eating cheeseburgers on the at the picnic table, and we heard something dragging through the woods. And I went to go check it out, and it was a big snapping turtle heading towards the pond across the road. So I went and I picked it up by like right on where its rear legs come out of its shell because I knew they can extend their neck. So I was staying away from that thing and brought it across the road. And the thing turned around and just like hissed at me. Just like, I'm not done with you, buddy. Bring it back.
Stabbing turtles are fucking terrifying, Chris, and
Yeah.
that's legit. Um,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the animated video that's like if the Ninja Turtles were like anatomically correct? And it's like because apparently turtles their dick is like half the size of their body. So like if you just watch the whole video, it's like they hiss and they fucking like do all this. It's the video is hilarious. I'll link it below and I'll send it to you later. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish this up because I'm sure that you're tired by now and I'm sure you want to get out of here. Um, if you win, you will win. What will you win? You will win this
Ooh.
November 2022 edition of Thrasher magazine
Ooh.
with the stickers already removed,
Oh.
but with the subscription tab still there.
Oh. Yeah. Don't rip that. That's still good.
So this is what you're going for here. I haven't even been tallying up the score, but there's a good chance you're winning right now.
Yeah. Very generous of you.
Okay, one more. We got one more. This is the last one. And you know what? We'll just count this one for the whole Mamma Jamma.
Oh, jeez. No pressure.
All right, I'm gonna try. So, a long ass time ago, Bison's ancestors made their way to America from Asia, crossing the land bridge, the ancient land bridge.
Yeah.
How many years ago did ancient bison make their way over here?
I feel like we just talked about age a little bit ago, but I want to say 13,000 years ago.
So much more. So much
Oh.
more.
Oh, man, there was a copy of Thrasher. 50,000 years ago.
So much more.
100
So much more.
million.
Not less than that. 400,000 years ago.
Wow.
So this copy of Thrasher is going securely back on my shelf.
Oh,
We'll let you
man.
compete for it again and at a later date if you think you can handle it. But yeah, 400,000 years ago they made their way over here.
That's crazy. Well, because I was trying to base it off people, because I want to say, I could be completely wrong, the Native Americans came over the land bridge like 13,000 years ago, but
I don't know.
I could be completely wrong on that.
13,000 years ago doesn't seem like that long ago for a
It
land
doesn't
for a
really.
land bridge to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll look it up. Fuck it. What else we got going on?
Mayflower. I know you meant Mayflower, but still.
Hold tight, everybody. I don't have anybody else to do this. Yeah, you were right. 1,300 years ago. But that's not when the bison came over. Bison came over earlier than that, according to 15 facts. According to DOI.gov, 400,000 years ago, they came over.
It's a long time.
That is a fucking long time.
I mean, not to make another dark number, but ever see those old West pictures of like the mountains of skulls that they would do of bison and things like that? It's
Yeah.
insane how many were out in the plains.
They used to, when they first started, when the first, like, railroads were cutting across the U.S. When you got to certain parts, they would give everybody on the train rifles, and they were just
Jeez.
allowed to shoot. That was like part of the festivities of the day, was to shoot bison from the window as the moving train.
Like we would go to a shooting gallery and like put a quarter in.
Yeah, like they would
Take
just
plugs at the little lake.
like the fucking the like conductor would just come down and hand out rifles to everybody on the
Here's your
train
win.
because they
Here's
caused
your Winchester. How about it?
well because they caused huge problems for the trains because they would die on the fucking tracks and
Yeah.
then you can't just run them over. You got to move the body, but they weigh 2,000 pounds. So
If they're male, yes, yeah,
yeah, female ones, yeah, as you know,
yeah.
you're looking slim for 2,000 pounds though. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you, thank you. I Pilates, yeah.
Well, my man, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you. Where
Thank
can
you so much.
all of these beautiful people find you?
Uh, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Granite Buffalo, one word. Yeah, I don't have a personal website. I don't have a personal website yet, but really, I would say Instagram would be my main place to be found at. That's the way I do the most communication through.
And where would, if someone has an order for you they'd like or they want to talk business with you, where should they reach out to you?
I either message me through Instagram or Granite Buffalo at outlook.com.
You have the silliest email addresses. I had a client the other day I did a video for. They still had a Hotmail.
Ugh.
Like what? A Hotmail? I didn't even fucking think there was. I didn't even know that you could still have one of those. Someone
Yeah,
must have.
yeah.
Who bought them? Yahoo must have bought them, right?
I don't know. I didn't even know Yahoo was really still around.
Well, Yahoo got
They
bought
went away.
by Verizon at one point, and then I think they sold them again.
Oh,
Dude, Yahoo still sells. The last time it still sold for like $5 billion.
jeez.
Like what the fuck? Like I'm more relevant than Yahoo. All right, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you everybody for coming on, talking with us, hanging out. Mark, Chris, you guys rule. Chris, of course, you still use Yahoo. You,
Yeah, Chris.
G Goats. Thank you for the question earlier in the beginning. We appreciate you all, and we hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.